Welcome back to the Laura Dowling Experience podcast, where each week I bring you insightful and inspiring guests that will open your mind and empower your life. Before we get into today's episode, I would love to ask you for a little favour. If you like this podcast, and I know so many of you do, you could really help me out by giving it a nice rating, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the podcast. It may not seem like a big deal, but actually this really helps to keep the podcast high up in the charts, and that means that I can keep bringing you brilliant guests who are insightful, inspiring, and full of wisdom that we can all learn from. Thanks a million. Now let's get to it. Glow from the inside out. With my Fabu Skin, Hair and Nails Glow, which blends 12 active ingredients including reishi mushroom, amino acids, vitamins and minerals to support collagen production and skin, hair and nail health on a cellular level. See the amazing before and after pictures of fuller, thicker hair, radiant glowing skin and longer, stronger nails on fabuwellness.com. Available on fabuwellness.com and in pharmacies and health food stores nationwide. Mairead, Matchmaker.
Yes.
So many questions in. I only put up a question box about 3/4 of an hour ago because I actually, truth be told, forgot to do it. And I've already got hundreds of questions in.
Yeah.
In my confessions every Sunday, I get hundreds and hundreds of questions from single people and even married people about relationships and about love and about where are all the nice men?
Yeah.
Where are they all?
It's the most often asked question.
I know. And the dating apps, there's apathy about them. People are sending dick pics all the time.
Yeah.
And, it just sounds like it's a really hard time. But also, I'm getting questions from men saying, where are all the nice women? Or like, what do women look for in a man? And then questions from women saying, what do men look for in a woman?
Yeah.
So let's just start.
Yeah, it's a minefield.
Yes.
And it's a very difficult place to be in, regardless of whether you're in a relationship and it's not the right relationship, or you're not sure if it's the right relationship you're in.
Yeah, that was a question. How do you know he's the one?
And that's it. There's loads of stuff like that. Like I suppose there's a few different questions. Like there's scenarios you should think of. So actually I saw something there recently where a girl was saying, if you were to lock your keys in the car for the 3rd time this week and you rang your partner, okay? Now we all have been there. Something is like, I can't believe this happens twice, let alone 3 times. But, first of all, how do they react? And second of all, how do you feel calling them? Like, are you scared to call them? Or are you thinking, oh, he's going to like literally give out to me now, but it'll be grand when I get home, that sort of way.
Yeah.
And things like that. Just thinking about different scenarios. So like the road is long when you're in a relationship. So
and it's windy.
It is windy and there's huge bumps.
Bumpy.
That's it. Yeah.
And sometimes you feel like you're skiing backwards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to be with somebody that you can really live life with, that you can get the bump in the road. And like, are they going to be resilient? Another scenario is if you were away, so say you were off in India now there a couple of weeks ago and the flights were cancelled, like completely cancelled. You're not getting out of there. The kids have to be back to school. You have to be back to work. What's going to happen? Now, the person you're with, are they going to absolutely blow a gasket? Are they actually going to be able to cope? Are they going to just lose their mind? Anything like that.
No, he just probably sort it out.
That's it. Or do you just go, right, I'm just going to sort it out and like, look, it might cost a bit of money, but we'll get over it and we'll get on with it and it'll be a fun story to tell once we get over the trauma of it all. So who are you doing life with? And very often people don't do their due diligence when it comes to dating. They get caught up in it. They ignore red flags. They, get swept up with the love bombing and all of this sort of thing. So you have to really be conscious about who you're going to be with. Like if you think about it, the most important decision you're ever going to make in your life is who you decide to marry, especially if you want to have a family with them. You're going to have like 20,000 meals with them. You're going to have
20,000.
Yeah, if you think about it, like how many times have you had dinner with Frank? If you think about it,
how many times have I had butter naan and a curry?
Exactly, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And like, you're going to have 10,000 nights together or whatever, however long you're together. And like, even how many cups of tea? How many times are you going to ask them in your lifetime, how's your day? And like if they're a moan bag, and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I'm going to have to listen to this for the rest of my life. Or they say, are they excited about the job they do? Now, not everybody's excited about the job they do. Some people would take it with a pinch of salt and, are happy enough to get going. Other people, they really are not in the right place, but they don't do anything about it. So who you decide to be with is going to make the biggest decision. Where you live, how many children you have, how many times you go on holidays, what you're going to be able to do with your life. Are they going to be your life partner? And they're going to be your biggest hero? Like my partner listens to every single radio interview I do. We will be listening to this podcast. I was on Ireland AM yesterday. He was like, they're ringing me straight afterwards, you know. And I've had partners where, you know, especially when I was starting out with business and like I was doing some of the bigger radio shows and like I was like really nervous. And I'd ring them and say, I'm going to be on this show. And they'd be like, oh yeah, Grant. And like at the end of the day, I might ring them. There wouldn't be anything from them. And I'd ring them and then they'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't get to listen to it. But like, I knew they were in their car at the time. So like, why didn't you not just turn it on? So like, who are you going to do life with?
Yeah. God. But that's a big question as well. And then also I've heard this be said, you know, we're all living a lot longer. So years ago when people got married in their 20s, they were dead by 40 or 50. And so, you know, but nowadays you would think 60 fucking years with looking at the same person.
However, the flip side of it is people in their 80s in Ireland were getting married on average at age 25. In the 1990s, on average, they were 27. Today, the average age in Ireland to get married is 36 and a half.
I just did a podcast with someone yesterday and they said we're the oldest brides and grooms in Europe.
Yes, absolutely.
Why is that?
Like, it's because, I'll tell you, the cost, it's real life. The cost of living. It's the housing crisis, all of those things. So if you think of providing man, most men are still, like, we're only one generation from women being out there working, having a business, doing all of this. Like, if you think of yourself 50 years ago, would you have had the opportunities that you have today?
I'm thinking of my granny, no.
I know, but it's funny thing actually is my granny had a knitting factory. So she was an entrepreneur and my mum is self-employed as well. So I've come from a line of it. But they even tell me it's not that straightforward. It wasn't that straightforward back then. My granny appreciates my granddad for nearly supporting her and being able to do those things as well. But like, if you think about the bigger picture, the reason is men want to be providers. So even with the guys that come to me for matchmaking, you have a situation where they are not really thinking about getting married, settling down, finding a long-term person until their life is set up. So it's the thing I call the taxi light theory. So you know when you're in New York and the light is on the taxi, it's either switched on and they're ready to go or it's switched off and they're not ready to go. So men tend to, you know, think of something casual until they're ready to meet somebody. So the people that come to me or the men that come to me for matchmaking, they tend to have just bought a house, just built a house, just moved home from Australia, Dubai, Canada, New Zealand. They might have just gotten a promotion. Those sort of things. Their life is like, I'm ready. And it's like a light switch. I'm ready to meet somebody. Let's go.
Okay. But women that come to you then, what are they?
Women tend to date differently. They graze. They're constantly looking. So they're like from 1920, if they meet the right person, they'll settle down. But unfortunately, the men they're looking for are not ready to settle down. So they unfortunately have to get their hearts broken a number of times, in the most part, before they actually meet the person a little bit older. Yeah.
Okay, so women are on the lookout, and
Constantly.
if they find someone really from a young age, even nowadays.
Yeah, they're grazing. It's the way I would look at it. You know, they're like kind of looking, they're dipping the toe in the water. But if they meet the right person to settle down and the person wants to settle down with them, they will. But
usually men in their 20s don't want to settle down.
No, realistically, even the guys come to me now, there is a little bit of difference as well from the type of lifestyle they have. So men from farming background tend to come to me a little bit younger.
Do you think?
Different parts of the country, yeah.
I've heard it's hard being married to a farmer.
It depends. It does
spend
depend.
a lot of time out on the field, and then there's lots of stuff about land ownership.
Yeah, well, they're very sensitive about the land ownership. They are.
And their mothers are very sensitive too.
Yeah.
They don't like
they're not daughters and farms
coming in.
That's it. No, what I'd say to you, I actually do a thing called the Farmer Wants a Wife. So I go down to the ploughing championships every year, and we do dancing down. We get set up in one of the bars down there and do a little bit of dancing and get to meet people and introduce people to each other. And I just meet loads of people from the farming community and people that would like to meet farmers. So you might have female farmers, gay farmers, straight farmers. It doesn't matter.
Oh, so you matchmake all types of people?
Everybody. There's
Wow.
no limits on love.
I would have thought it's easy for gay people to find love.
No, gay men are saying to me that they feel quite disposable. So you can go on Grindr.
You're right.
They go on Grindr, they meet people, it's finished, done. It's very hard to find a long-term relationship or love on the apps if you're a gay man. So if there's any gay men listening, please give me a shout, because there's some lovely men.
Actually, I have some friends and they said they did find that it's the disposable, or they feel that they fall hard, and then
That's it.
It's, a bit of sex and then off they go.
Yeah. That's it. Now, there is obviously people out there looking for long term, but it is more difficult because however difficult it is when you're straight dating to find someone that's looking for long term real love. When you're a gay man, it's very difficult.
And what about gay women?
Gay women, it's different how they date. The problem is, right, women are less likely to make the first move online dating. Okay, so if you're in Tinder and you're in a straight couple or a straight situation, men are more likely to reach out to you first, because women are kind of like, well, I'm not going to make the first move because we're going to do a little bit of a dance here, and see who can play a little bit of chicken. So what actually happens with a lot of lesbians is that nobody makes the first move. So there's all this matching going on, but nobody's. So the first thing I say to lesbians is, would you just say hello? Just get going on it. But we have some fabulous ladies as well.
I've heard the thing about gay women as well, is they'll meet each other on a Monday and they've moved to each other by the Friday. They just set up home and
then they're off to therapy to have their baby. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's great. But you know what? Isn't it fabulous? No messing around.
Yeah.
Because we're both on the same page. Let's go for it.
Yes. I hear from some of them though, they like to be a little bit of a difference in age, because otherwise they're both going through the menopause together, and that's a shit show.
That actually will be dangerous.
So tell me, what do men look for in a woman, and what do women look for in a man?
The main thing is everybody looking for someone that's kind, happy, healthy, looks after their appearance, is ready to date and has good value. So that's the universal of what everybody is looking for. Anything after that is preference. When it comes to ladies, they're looking for a good sense of humour is the one that I hear all of the time. And the reason for that, I thought they were looking for a bit of comedy when I started doing matchmaking first. But now I am going to say it is because they feel safer with men that are good fun. And I that's the sad part about it, but they feel safer.
Why is that?
Because if they're grumpy and they're, if they're not a good sense of humour, they're more likely to be grumpy, maybe more aggressive.
So it's not that they want someone cracking jokes all the time.
No,
it's just more
it's
someone
safety of the feeling in their heart.
Oh.
You know that feeling when you go to put your key in the front door?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Oh, great.
Do you feel great? I'm going to meet the love of my life. I've missed him all day and everything like that. But there's people that could stop to put the key in the door and think to themselves, oh, what did I say? What did I do? Did I leave out the milk? Did I leave on my hair straightener? All of those things. So that's why they're asking for a guy with a good sense of humour. They're all looking for a man, a provider. Now, before everybody starts thinking that women in Ireland are gold diggers, they're not, okay? There's a whole kind of system, we might talk about that in a few minutes, as to what men need and what women need. We'll go on a different level to that in a moment. But for men, then they're all looking for a lady that's no drama. Right, that's the first thing. That's why they need your tablet.
Can I just say something? You all need my Menno and Perry if you're 40 plus, and you need my Orno Relax.
Definitely.
Can I say
I've tried that and that is really good.
Thank you. One of my children, I don't know whether I'm going to have to take this out afterwards because it might be too telling, but he has a job in a place, I'm not going to say where, and he works with boys and girls, men and women, and he actually said randomly the other day, my God, the girls there's always drama with the girls, and it's always like, they're commenting about each other or whatever, but they all get on really well with the lads. Yeah. So the girls get on well with the lads, they don't necessarily get on with each other. There's a little bit of in-house fighting.
That's it.
And there's a lot of drama. Yeah. So that's gas.
It's like, that's what they're saying. I don't want any drama. All men as well would like a lady that dresses well, a bit of glam. I had a lovely lady come to me today. Very nice. Go on.
You see, all the confessions are coming back to me. But there's one last week and someone said, I'm dating a guy who has a tight fetish. Is this normal?
But see,
I was like, what? Like,
it's normal for him.
Yeah, and if it's just tights, you're just
that's it. Yeah, well, you might have to get him to pay for the tights. Let's face this.
Okay, sorry, go on. I'm going to stop interrupting you because I'm just like, I have so many questions now.
Now, I'm just randomly going to say that I had a lady today came to me, mid-30s, fabulous lady, hugely successful, all the lovely things. I mean, the nicest personality, all of those things. And one of the things I noticed in her photographs is that she is really embracing grey hair. And so absolutely no problem with that. You do what you need to do and everything like that. But I will say I have matched ladies in their 30s that have embraced grey hair, especially during COVID and everything like that. Yeah. And I will say the first thing that men came back to me about, it doesn't matter how fabulous she was like, yeah, but she's quite grey.
Okay.
So what I would say is you be yourself. Okay, because you're going to attract who you are. But I would say when you're dating, try and increase the probability of success. So if you really want to do that, absolutely go with that. But there are kind of parameters you can work within. So like
to increase chances.
Dressing well, having fun and being fun. Some people just take the dating way too seriously. Some people like look at it like an interview. And so they're like, so I was born in 1980. It's like, oh my God, don't start,
Okay.
you know. But so have fun, be fun. Present yourself as the best possible light, the most positive, happiest version of yourself.
Kind of on display and maybe acting a bit too.
Well, if you think about it, if you're going for a date on a random Tuesday night and you've had a difficult day in work, you can be yourself and say I had a really shit day in work and like moan about your boss and everything like that. Or you can focus on, well, actually, I'm just back from India and I had a great time and got some lovely clothes while I was over there. You know, you can really give the different version of yourself. Straight relationships.
Lie, straight up.
Lie. No, what I'm saying is be the best version of yourself. It is a dance. Like, you know, there's nothing, you're thinking about this as we were saying as well. Like you're going to have like 20,000 meals with that person. You're going to have like 10,000, you know, sleeping nights or whatever with them and everything. Like think about it. You're going to pick someone that's going to be fun and it's going to be exciting and do nice things. And
fun for some people, maybe not be fun for others. And that's why there's lots of different people in the world.
And it's work.
Because we all don't have to be hilarious, funny people either. And, you know,
yeah,
we all need different things.
That's it. Like what I'm saying to you is increase the probability of success. The more normal you are, the easier it is to be matched or to meet somebody. And I know I hate the word normal, but like if you're super tall or super small, you know, as opposed to just average. And like average is easy if I'm honest. If your average job, like the bigger the job you have, the harder it can be, whether you're male or female, because you're trying to get someone to almost match that.
Oh, you're saying so people like to be on a parity with the job?
Well, similar, yeah. So, sorry, one of the other things I want to say to you about matching is for straight couples, ladies are looking for a masculine man. Now, I'm not saying they need to be cutting down trees, but kind of traditional masculine. I know.
Saw a big tree trunk.
I know. But like you'd love them to be able to throw you over your shoulder. I don't know. I think a man ever threw me over his shoulder, you know yourself. But, you know, you want them to be a masculine man. With the ladies then, they want you to be a feminine woman. Now, let's face it, for a lot of the big successful jobs that a lot of the ladies do that come to me, they are very much in their masculine energy during the day. So that's their default energy. And so it's the one that they're most confident in. So when they go on a date and they're a little bit nervous and they like the person sitting in front of them, they're like, where am I most comfortable? And they're like nearly start presenting themselves like a business setting. So it's all these, like it's a minefield, and you can overthink it or you can just understand it and do your best. There's a lot.
There is a lot.
There is a lot.
And you said there, if you're very tall or you're very small, like I almost feel sorry for those people that are listening now that are very tall or are very.
There's somebody out there. There's not even just somebody out there for everybody. There's so many people out there for everybody. Okay. But what I'm saying is, the more average you are, the more opportunities you have. Okay. Now, in saying that, I would never, like, as somebody said to me there not so long ago, the worst thing you could call me is harmless, you know, or just like average, you know. So nobody really wants to be just average.
Yeah.
But you can concentrate on your most positive or your most comfortable characteristic or whatever it is. But like that as well, you can balance it up. So like if you are fabulously tall, like, you know, maybe wear a shorter skirt, you probably have fabulously long legs, you know. So use what you have as well at the same time.
And then in terms of, so say for instance, men would say to me that if you're on a dating app, women, they always want to know your height.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get annoyed if the men want to know their body size or something like that.
Yes.
So can we just discuss that, the physical characteristics and how important that is, and how people might actually, because a question came in about, you know, if your type is A, but actually there's a lovely B there, how do you find them, or how do people actually even open their minds to them?
So the way I describe it is there's a lot of people come to me of all ages, right? So from their 20s right up to their 80s. Ladies especially that come to me late 20s, early 30s, because they've grown up with Instagram and social media, their idea of what an ideal partner is very different to a lady in her early 40s or 50 plus, we'll say.
Who's already been around the block a little bit.
Has been around the block, and they now know what they want. Very often, actually, it's more important what they don't want when they come to me in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So anybody that comes to me,
fucking list is very long.
It is, yeah. It's like basically describing your ex-husband. That's why I'm just like, that's what their ex-husband was like.
Here's a picture of what I don't want.
Yeah, that's it. His name is, you know. But no, you have a situation where they're coming to you and they're like, okay, 6'5", trust fund, blue eyes, works in finance, wears a gilet, you know, all these different things. They're like,
abs,
that's it. And then you're kind of chatting away to them and you're like, okay, but wait a second, you're 5 foot. That's going to be difficult if they're 6'5".
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't really go to the gym a lot. You're telling me you're not very active and all that. So we need to talk about where the balance is and what they're genuinely looking for. I don't try and change anybody's mind. I give them the options. Would you think of this? Would you think of that? Are we being realistic? Just a genuine conversation of increasing probability. And then just seeing like what is actually important. So sometimes then when I say to them at the end of the consultation, tell me in your own words type, because I'll have asked them 100 questions at this stage, tell me in your own words type person that you'd like to meet. And some people start off with needs to be really successful, financially independent, and it can really be the materialistic side of things. And then other people are just really feeling based. So they're like someone that's kind, someone that's happy, good sense of humour, someone that, you know, is close to their family, somebody that would like to have a family, those sorts of things. So what people are looking for is very different. But very often then somebody will say to me throughout it as well, like, I don't know why, but I always just attract bad boys. And so then when you start talking to them, they're like, well, all I want is the 6'5", you know what I mean? So it's what you prioritise. So if you are single and you're thinking about what you're looking for, like sit down with a pen and paper and think about who you are, first of all. What makes you you? What type of lifestyle do you have? What are your actual dreams? Because you're going to have to meet somebody that is aligned to that as well. Do you want to have a family? Are you looking for a long-term relationship at the moment? There's no point in going on Tinder looking for a long-term relationship. Now, you can find them on there, but then chatting away to someone and then saying to them, what are you looking for? And they're saying, I'm just looking for something casual. And then you're going to waste the next 2 years of your life just
trying to change their mind.
Trying to change their mind. Just please don't do this. You know, think about who you are, what you're looking for. Then think about the type of person you'd like to meet. What are the main characteristics you're looking for? And then go through that list and how important are they? Like, how important is it that they're over 6 foot? So I get people to fill out this form before they come to me. Now we have an online system, and like it's like 6 foot to 6'5", okay? And then I'm chatting away to them and they're 5'2", and you're saying to them, how important is that? And they're like, it's not really that important, so it's not, you can put it down a little bit. And in fairness, I get it. They're bringing their Barbie wish list to me, so they are, find me my pen, you know.
Yeah.
And I get it. They are trying to manifest, they're trying to put it out to the universe, but sometimes they're over-prescribing. So what is the most important? But let's face it, love and relationships is all about how you feel.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I know, it's crazy stuff.
And then for men, what do men want? Do men want perfect body?
No. Not in Ireland. Actually, I do a lot of work with elite matchmakers in the UK. So they come to me when they have like these really successful men in Ireland actually contact them because they're looking for, I suppose they want anonymity in Ireland. But then they actually just come back to me and get me to match them. But a lot of the time, if they're UK-based men, because sometimes they say, I've got a UK-based man and he has some businesses in Ireland, can you match them? Very often, they're looking for considerably younger ladies. The great thing is in Ireland, most men are really only looking for ladies 3 to 5 years younger than them. They're very realistic when it comes to age because I really think they're looking for somebody that they can have great conversations with.
Yeah, I've heard that they want someone to have a bit of crack with.
They want someone to have crack with. They're looking for a life partner. Like I'm getting guys in their 60s saying to me, I'd love to meet someone 55, 56, 57. They're not asking for 30-year-olds. Now, sometimes men come to me and they say, I didn't have a kid, didn't have children, and I missed the boat for whatever reason. Maybe they had been married, they had tried to have children, they couldn't have children, and their wife has passed away. And they're like, well, actually, it's still a dream that I would like. Something like that, they might come to you and they might say, if there was someone...
60-year-olds aren't coming to you saying that, are they?
It's happened. But anyway, it has. Yeah, it has.
Are they successful?
No, it haven't. No.
Can't imagine.
No, and I have to be realistic. Like a lot of the ladies that come to me are very well established in their life. They're well educated. They know what they want. And so I'm asking them straight out. Now, sometimes some ladies say, to be honest, I'm open to age. I don't care about age. I've dated much older. That's what I'm attracted to. That's fine. But I don't try and convince anybody of anything. If you come to me and you say you're looking for A, B, C, D, I might say to you, well, is that actually the same person or is this 3 different people trying to,
Okay.
So there's no point in you saying to me, I want a really ambitious guy that's really successful, but he needs to be home by 4 o'clock every day and he needs to be a really good chef and cook for me while I run my business. It's not the same person. That's 2 or 3 different people in one. So you have to just be realistic and talk backwards from it.
And these UK men that want considerably younger women, is that just because they like the idea of a younger chick or is it because they want babies?
I think they like the idea of a younger lady. I think. Yeah, I think more.
So they're more into the sexual part of it?
Yeah, the sexual and kind of maybe the trophy.
As opposed to the relationship. And do those relationships work out as much as, say, people that you can have those conversations with that you're
They
talking
do
about?
and they don't. Like, you know, if anybody comes to a matchmaker, they're really going to, like, I do in-depth conversations or consultations with everybody. I really get to know them, the type of person they'd like to meet, and then anything else that I feel might help me to match them. And I tease it out. I've been doing this long enough. I've matched close to 12,000 people since 2016. So, like, that's a huge amount of people to really know what people are looking for in a relationship, what is going to work, what's not going to work.
And do you know how many of those 12,000 have turned into a long-term relationship or marriage?
Hundreds have turned into weddings, like absolute hundreds. Yeah, with 28 weddings last year.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's a really.
Do you get invited to them all?
I do get I get invited to a lot of them actually. Babies as well. And the great thing is just before Christmas, like you get all the hi Mairead, just letting you know it's our first year with our new baby or our first year with our two babies, or it's our wedding anniversary, and we get lots of photographs. So actually just before Christmas is my favourite time of year because you're getting all this love of, and it's kind of when you're absolutely exhausted at the end of the year, you're like, I'm just going to crawl to Christmas, you know, I need a break myself, and like you're just getting all this love of, that's why you do what you do.
And you were saying this is your busiest time of year. Why is that?
A lot of people have just had to put in a very lonely Christmas. So if you're single, actually I saw that a lot in your confessions. A lot of people are lonely over Christmas. A lot of people, like one lady said, I'm sick of being the single aunt every year around the dinner table. A lot of people are lonely. It's being single is very lonely for a lot of people. Now, some people are fine, so we're not going to brand them all with the same brush.
No, and some people are living their best lives.
They really are, absolutely.
And they want to be the aunt.
That's it. That's it. The cool rich aunt. Yeah, that's it. Because they don't have to pay for childcare.
I know.
But, you know, when you're looking at it, yeah, it is the busiest time of year. A lot of people are lonely. Their friends or family just got engaged or they just got invited to a wedding. For a lot of people then as well, they are thinking of New Year's resolutions. So they might have gotten dating fatigue around September or October. They decide to come off the apps and like 1, 2, 3, 4 months have passed and they're like, I kind of need to get back on this again. And then also Valentine's Day is literally 2 minutes away. So they're just like, okay, actually, I really need to get going on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is the busiest time of year. Like, I mean, a surge. It's not just slightly busier. It's about 3-4 times busier. The amount of inquiries we're getting in, the amount
and
of
how much does it cost for your service?
So to book a consultation is from €150. And then from there, there's different packages then. So I arrange their dates. I follow up with them after each of their dates as well. I can't take on everybody. So I'm very realistic. So there are some matchmakers out there that if you go for a consultation with them, they'll literally be like, there's a membership, off you go, sign up. And it is a couple of €100, okay? For me, what I do is I go in, I have a look at who we have. So if we have someone suitable, we invite you to join. If we don't have someone suitable straight away, we keep on looking until we do. I travel all around Ireland meeting people. So I have consultations in Dublin, Galway, Cork, Limerick, Kilkenny, Mullingar, Naas. And actually we're starting in Belfast at the end of this month.
Face to face?
In person.
Every person?
Every single person.
That must be exhausting.
It is, yeah. Well, it is, but you're doing it properly. Like people are coming to you with their heart. You know, you can half do this. And I could employ a load of people and we could make it into a dating agency factory, or we could do it properly. And that's why we get the success that we do. I meet every single person. I have support staff to help me with the other stuff in the background, but I actually meet every single person. And that's, as a result, then we have the integrity. You make like really good relationships with some of these people. Like there's some people that come to you, and I mean it, the loneliness in their heart when they're talking to you. Like I've had grown men, huge successful people in the media, cry in front of me and say, I actually don't know what to do. I'm so lonely. I'd like to meet somebody. And, you know, there's all these like medical things that are really bad from a loneliness perspective. Yeah. Like it's the equivalent to smoking 10 cigarettes a day. Some people say on your heart. For other people, mental health issues. It's a very difficult place to be in because it's not like you can just fix it, you know. Like, it is quite difficult when you're lonely. So from going from there to having a consultation with them, to arranging a date for them. And like sometimes I've matched people on the very first date and they've ended up getting married. For others, it can take 3, 4, 5 dates even. Sometimes people have come to me, they might be in their 40s or 50s and have never been on a date. And like people you would expect that, you know, have had all this experience, but they may just never have gotten started, or the confidence levels. Like, remember, dating is outside people's comfort zone. So it is very difficult. And when it gets past a certain age, like that's why during COVID, I was like, oh my God, let the kids like shift each other, like get them out to the teenage discos, get them out quick as soon as you can afterwards. Because like there is a kind of coming of age time. And so like if you have people in that age group, like encourage them to be going to the underage discos, encourage them to be joining groups, you know, like we're all talking about kids hanging around on street corners and everything, but like, what are they going to do? Sit inside and be on their tablets playing all the time? Yeah,
no, they need to be meeting.
They need to be meeting people of their own age.
Those interactions with people their own age are crucial, even just for social
for everything, for even business. Like when they grow up and like get their jobs and everything. I think as well, if you have a teenager there that's like very shy, get them a job in retail. Like I worked in Boots Pharmacy growing up, and like I was there for 3.5 years in Mullingar, and like it was great. You're meeting so many people.
Or a restaurant, brilliant.
Or a restaurant, yeah. Just get going, get chatting, enjoy, like get them talking to all walks of life. And like it'll knock the shyness out of them. Like that's even people come to me and they say, I'm really nervous about dating. And I'm like, yeah, but you're like a hairdresser. You joking me? You're well able to talk to everybody. The one thing I actually have to say to people like hairdressers or physiotherapists or people that are very one-to-one human facing will say in their job is nearly like, be careful not to do too much chit chat. Like don't keep the conversation too shallow. Like there's only so much talking you do about holidays, what are you doing for the weekend and everything. Try and have more in-depth conversation if you're on a date. Try and build a connection with them. So there's so many elements to it.
And do you have people that come to you and like just keep on the circuit and they just can't find anyone?
Not particularly. Yeah, we normally are able to fix the issue if there is an issue. So it might be confidence. It might be lack of experience, as I said to you. It might be just getting going on dating, as in some people that may have been married for years, they might be widowed, they might be separated, they might be divorced. They're only just starting back into the dating.
And if they've been in a monogamous relationship since their late teens, they may find it very difficult to even just interact with someone else on that level.
And then how do you start dating? So Tinder's actually only around 11 years. So if you think of the grand scheme of humanity and how we've dated for centuries, like 11 years is absolutely nothing in that. So if you're coming from the perspective of, I tried online dating, it's terrifying. You know, it works now. I'm not against online dating. It works for some people. If you are single, I think you should definitely try it. And I think you should try it properly. I don't think you should just like dip your toe and I tried it, bite, gone. You know, I think you should.
What is trying it properly? What does that look like?
I would say go on 3 dates.
I have a friend, right, who for a year, met people for breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Brilliant.
So meet them for coffee before breakfast, before work, meet them on a coffee break at lunchtime and then meet them, and literally found someone eventually, but she was like, it's a numbers game. I have to look at it and I have to sit and have coffee with a lot of frogs before I find my prince. And she did. Yeah,
dating is a numbers game. If you think of finding a job, okay, so say you lost your job in the morning, you have a motivation to get out there and keep going. Nobody really wants to go to work in the morning. You don't think in the morning, yay, I'm going to work, you know, unless you're a matchmaker, of course. But, you know, if you think about it, you're going to have to get out there and get going because you have to pay your mortgage. If you want to go on holidays this year, if you just want to keep going, you're going to have to get out there. So if you put your head down, you're going to get a job in the next 3 months. There's nobody really, if they wanted to get a job, wouldn't be able to find something in the next 3 months and something that suits them. You could settle. You could just get a job just to tie you over, but it's not really going to maybe pay your mortgage because it might not be the right level of income. You could find a job with the same job spec, but it might not be in a company that you like. The colleagues might be not nice, all of those things. When it comes to dating, there is no motivation. There is no get going, like real put the foot down and let's go for it. So if you are interested in dating or if you are genuinely hoping to find love in 2026, make a good stab at it, right? What I would actually say is try everything. So one, I would set up an absolutely banging profile. So if you're a woman, I would say the most feminine, fabulous photographs that you can have. Having fun, like shot while you're out and about, laughing, things like that.
All the profiles are going to be the same now.
I know, but brilliant. At least it won't be any dead fish with the men.
You know, though, you're saying about the best photograph, can there be a little bit of kitten fishing or cat fishing being done there? Like I do know of people that have walked into a date and the person's looked completely different.
Yeah, been there, done that, yeah.
Okay, so like realistically, how much filtering should they do? Like because it's not fair on either party either.
I don't think there should be any filtering.
Right.
Okay, I think you should be the best version of your natural self. Now, I think if you're a lady, present yourself well, have your hair done, makeup done. Now, unless you're after, like if you think about it, the photograph before the marathon versus the photograph after the marathon. Now, you might love the photograph after the marathon with the medal, but your face is probably going to be puffy red. Probably not the sexiest.
Oh God, you're actually, sorry, I thought this was an analogy.
No.
You're actually saying people will post the after the marathon picture.
When they're like half dead, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm saying, okay, but wait a second. Why don't we take the one beforehand where your hair is still intact, that you're like not looking like you need medical aid? And, you know, like let's think about it. So if you think of the two, but if you think about it.
I was going to love this conversation.
But if you think about it, the end photograph is probably where you actually have the best memory because you're like, I did it. I'm so exhilarated there that I actually completed my first marathon, my 10th marathon, whatever it is. But think about it, what do I look best in? Okay. It's not all superficial, but Tinder exists, guys. You know, it is first impressions. It is a numbers game. You are out there. It is a bit of competition out there and everything like that. So why not look the best? Most feminine, doing things that you enjoy. So I had a lady there a couple of years ago and she said to me, I am really not into drinking at all. I don't want to meet someone that's big into drinking. My partner was a big drinker, all of those sorts of things. And then I looked at her online dating profile. Now I don't always look at their online dating profile, but like in every photograph, she's like there with a drink in her hand or like dancing on a table or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, who are we going to attract here? So think about it from the perspective of who am I going to attract? As well, if you think about it as well, if you were going to sell your car in Dundee, you're not going to like open up the back door with all the kids' food mashed into the back of it and like dirt tracks up all the back that haven't washed the car in 3 months. You're probably going to shine it. You're probably going to get it in maybe even a mini valet or something. Bring it to somewhere scenic. You're not going to take it in a dark garage. You're going to bring it to somewhere scenic to take the photographs, to stick it up in Dundee. It's the same with online dating. Just spruce yourself up.
So, and I'll tell you, because I've lived and learned this just from just doing a number of photo shoots. Yeah. Take your photograph in natural light, or else use a ring light. Yeah. Lighting makes a massive difference. It can turn you from literally
blue to alive.
Absolutely. Or like, you know, the way shadows cast in your face can make you look so much older and just not yourself. And then in a nice bright light.
Yes.
Get a friend to take a photograph of you, and as you say, laughing, or you don't even have to be looking at the camera. You can be like,
I don't know if you saw, there's a podcast there recently of a lady saying about fake smiles.
Oh yeah,
thing. She was saying about like not a fake real like smile. Like a lot of people as well actually ask me for someone with kind eyes. Simple, very simple. Teeth are also really important. Unfortunately, if you literally just went and close your mouth very quickly. But what I'm saying, you have a lovely smile, Laura. But there's a lot of people out there that are probably not going to the dentist as much as they should be. Now, this was huge just after COVID. A lot of people were saying like they need to have their teeth cleaned, they need to have good oral hygiene because people were so germaphobe, like they were so conscious of hygiene. But like we should be getting our teeth cleaned every 6 months to a year.
So you're not saying people need to have straight American teeth? It's just clean teeth.
Clean teeth. If you feel like it is something that's holding you back, you know, perhaps look at it. But like overall, I would say is just be yourself. The right person hears you differently. So you don't need to be somebody else, okay? But be the best version of yourself. But definitely things like getting your teeth cleaned, presenting yourself well, having fun and looking fun in the photographs without looking like the clown, you know? So like guys don't put up photographs dressed up as women. No woman wants to meet a man dressed up as a woman, you know. Stop putting up pictures of dead fish.
Do that?
Yes.
What the fuck's the story with the fish?
I don't know. Or guys taking selfies and you can see a urinal in the background. Like seriously, no woman ever needs to see a urinal. Because I can smell the photograph from here, you know.
I heard some woman said like, some men take pictures and they take it with all their friends in it. So you don't even know
which one. It's like, where's Wally? Like, at least put on a stripy jumper for God's sake, you know. But then, it is. And that's actually as well, I've like a rule, please take down your WhatsApp photographs to people before the dates because people have thought they're going on a date with their brother, cousin, everything. So like so when I swap over the photographs, can we just like not put up photographs with 3 like men, especially if you're not the hottest one of the 3, you know? So we try to make a blanket rule, take down your WhatsApp photographs before the dates. So it's not like that. And like the dates are blind dates. I don't swap photographs beforehand because a lot of people that send me in photographs don't look like who I meet in person. They genuinely don't look like that person. Like I've looked at photographs and looked at profiles before.
A blind date.
It is. It's fantastic. You know, and like it's all based then on real chemistry. So we don't get them to contact each other beforehand. So you're straight in to see how you get on. And we don't do any pre-calls, anything like that. Because some people are great on the phone. Some people then, you know yourself after a long day. Sometimes you're like flying it, I'm sure, doing a podcast. And then other times you're like, oh my God, that actually took all of my energy, you know? So we just try and get them straight there. But also, you might be talking to someone for weeks and weeks online and think, I have great chemistry with this person. You start falling in love with them. You're like, they're literally everything I want. This is going to be the most perfect person for me. You do not know if you have chemistry with someone until you meet them in person. Because there's a whole thing about pheromones, chemistry, everything. So what pheromones are a hormone, they bounce off each other. So even when we meet, our pheromones bounce off each other. But if you meet someone of the opposite sex, or if you're looking for a female-female, male-male, or male-female relationship, when you meet someone of the opposite sex and your pheromones bounce off each other, essentially your bodies are analysing if you were to have babies, would they have a diverse gene pool? That's what chemistry is based off. Now, obviously, it still works at 70 and everything like that. You're trying to figure out, would we be aligned as a good match? But that's like sometimes why you're like getting on great with someone, talking to them 2-3 weeks online, you meet with them in person, and like within 30 seconds, you're like, nope.
Wow. And then what about this ghosting thing that goes on online? That seems to happen an awful lot. People think they're having great conversations with people and they're literally...
Ghosting is probably, I think, the worst thing you can do to somebody. And especially if you've been talking to them for a while. If you are out there dating, first of all, unless you're actually actively dating at the moment, or you have no idea what it's like to be single and out there dating. So if you have single friends or family that are trying to meet someone, will you please just give them a little bit of extra credit. If you know someone that you think might be a good match for them, get going on it. Set them up on a blind date, send them for a coffee and just see how they get on. But ghosting side of things, because of online dating, there's a lot of regular rejection. And so that's all well and good. You might be talking to somebody and it just might not work out, but you might get rejected a number of times. Ghosting is when I feel it gets to a point where you've built up a little bit of a rapport with someone. You might be talking to them 2-3 weeks. You might have a date this Saturday. You might have a reservation booked. You might have your hair booked. You might decide what outfit you're having, what you're going to wear. And then literally 9 o'clock that morning, you wake up, look at your phone to text, go, yay, it's date day or whatever. And they've blocked you and everything. Disappeared.
They block.
So you can unmatch on Tinder. They could block you on something. They've disappeared off the face of the earth. And can you imagine as a person what that feels like in your heart? Even if you don't particularly fancy them.
So interesting the way you always go back to how it feels like in your heart.
It does, yeah. Well, that's
because it is your heart.
It is.
You're putting your heart on the line.
But that's it, and that's what I say to people. You're coming to me with your heart. That's what they are. When you're sitting across from somebody as a matchmaker and they say to you, I was married to the love of my life for 25 years and they had an accident and they're dead. And like you realise like the amount of effort it takes for that person to come to you. Like people as well. I know. I regularly get into the car and have a little cry on the way home because like you listen to that all day. And like there was one day there, I'm going to say about 1.5 years ago, and I got into the car and 3 ladies in a row had told me that they were widowed. And 2 of them, their partner had died by cardiac arrest. And I actually was a volunteer with Mullingar Community First Responders for 2 years. So I was actually used to volunteer at the ambulance and go out and do CPR in the middle of the night with cardiac arrest, chest pain, stroke. So if anybody has first responders in their area, do volunteer with them. It's hugely rewarding. But I literally got into my car and started crying and I just ordered a defibrillator for her house. I just straight away just ordered a defibrillator for her house. I was like, how, when I know how to do CPR, do I not have one? So there's these little disposable clicky ones. But people are coming to you with their heart. People are coming to you with their biggest life story. There's people out there as well, like they're widowed, that don't tell anybody they're coming to you because nobody has said to them, would you think about going and meeting somebody else? And they're just like, what are people going to think? They can't go online dating then as well. Everybody in their community knows what's happened, you know. And like, I don't see why not. If you are in that situation, get out and about. If you know somebody that is single out there, why not have a conversation with them and say, you know what, you're such a lovely person. Would you think about getting out and about? One of the things that we were talking about on your confessions as well is a lot of people are saying, thank God I'm single when I look at these confessions. And I think it's so sad because there's no greater feeling in the world than being in love. There's no greater feeling than being in love with the right person.
And we need to say those confessions are a venting vehicle.
I understand. They're fabulous though. I think
they are fab. Yeah. They are brilliant. And people do come again with their heart and they do bare their soul. But it's really important that people understand. I do get messages in going, I'm so in love with my husband. But that's not a confession really. That's just, and that's not what people are there for.
No.
So I will occasionally put them up. But it's the meaty, juicy ones that people do want to read.
Yeah, of course.
And whenever I put up one saying, you know, someone will inevitably go, oh, I just had a great old shag with my husband while the kids watch TV.
Sunday morning.
I know. People message going, we don't want to hear about those people having shags. How's it a confession for a husband and wife to be having a shag? You know, so you can't please everyone.
No,
but I will say that, and I have deliberately put up polls going, are you happy in your marriage or relationship? And the vast majority of people do say yes to that.
Well,
so it isn't the vast majority are miserable.
Yeah.
But the people that I suppose are venting are venting for a reason, so you need to understand that.
Absolutely.
So I would hate for people to make their life decisions upon those kind of venting vehicles. I want to say that.
No, and I absolutely understand that. There are if you are in a great relationship, you know, if you are with the right person, there is no greater feeling in the world. And don't be put off by finding love. Just because as well you may have had a really bad relationship in the past. You might have been with an asshole. Let's face it. There's the amount of people in Ireland that are on mental health medication because they're in the wrong relationship, because they're with the wrong person. And like, where do you even start with that? I'm the wrong person for this now completely. For the relationship expert, you need my podcast co-host Stephanie Regan on here talking about that, and she's brilliant. But like, if you actually look at the right type of person, okay, they're going to make you feel good about yourself. Like, one thing that I say about my partner is I felt more myself when I met him than I've like ever felt in my life, which is so weird because he literally brought out I could be like unapologetically myself and just so encouraged to be myself. I could say anything. There's nothing that I need to go, oh God, can I say that? I can just say it. I never have to filter myself. And so there are actually, and you know what, I'm going to read them out. There's 5 questions if you are unsure about whether you're in the right relationship.
Oh yeah, because people have said, how do I know if this is the one?
Yeah, so 1, if someone said you were a lot like your partner, would it be a compliment? 2, are you really fulfilled or just less lonely?
Okay.
3, are you able to be yourself or do you have to show up differently? So do you have to zip it? Do you have to be a lady? Do you have to do all of those different things? 4, are you in love with your partner as they are, as a whole, or just certain elements of them, i.e. when they're not drinking or when you're just the two of you? I don't like it when I'm with their friends or family or whatever it is.
But there can be aspects of things that your partner does that you don't necessarily like.
Oh yeah,
as well as loving them entirely. Yeah,
absolutely. But like, I'm talking about the extreme of this.
Yeah,
the last one is, would you be happy if your child dated someone like them?
Oh,
now we're both coming from a situation where we're actually very lucky to have the lovely men in our life that we have. I have been in the relationships where if I had read those questions, be very quickly going, not sure if they're the right person for me. You know, I've been the person that's coming home from work thinking to myself, what am I coming home to? At the beginning stage of being a matchmaker as well, you know, like, not knowing, am I with the right person? And people ringing you up saying, oh my God, you're after introducing me to the person of my dreams. And like in my, I know, but in my heart, I'm like, this isn't my life.
Okay.
This is not my life.
So you did your own matchmaking on your relationship?
I did, yeah. Well, that's it, yeah. So I met my partner just over 2 years ago now.
Was he looking for love?
No, he wasn't. He was just out of marriage.
Oh, okay.
That's it. So he was actually like, hold up now a minute. Okay. But, you know, I was very conscious of the fact of if he's not aligned to what I'm looking for because I'm ready, I'm not going to go there. So basically met him in Herbert Park. It was raining. Just randomly started chatting to him. We were both under the bandstandy thing there, and I asked him out straight out. I just like was chatting away to him. I said, what do you do for a living? Or I said, were you going back to work? Because he was soaked. And he was like, yeah, I have to go back. I said, what do you do? And he goes, mortgage. I said, no way. I said, I actually have a meeting with the bank on Monday for a mortgage. And he was like, no way, what do you do yourself? And I said, I'm a matchmaker. And he's like, oh, might give you a call sometime. And I was like, here, I'll take your number. I was like, yeah, we must grab a coffee sometime. Can I get your number? And off we went. That's it. And like, he was very clear.
Have to not be afraid to ask men. Do men like being asked out?
Well, and do you know what? The success rates of women asking men out is significantly better.
So I have to tell you, I asked my husband out. Yeah.
Isn't it fantastic?
Yeah.
I
asked him to the Debs.
Did you? Oh
yeah. And I haven't got rid of him.
I was there yesterday, was it?
Oh, it was fucking years ago.
Brilliant though. You asked him.
So I did. So, and I think sometimes being a little bit ballsy and just, I think men, there's so much expected of men and boys to be that person that does it first. And you know, if you ask them out, then they're going to be flattered as well, aren't they?
So lovely.
Yeah.
It is. Now, I wouldn't have asked 7-8 years ago, I wouldn't have asked somebody out. I would have died first. I wouldn't have really been the best flirt before I started matchmaking. And then I just was like, here it goes. You know what? Can't be talking about all this stuff and not walking the walk, you know? Yeah. So I was like, right, I'm going to start asking people out if I meet them along the way and everything, because I know, like, I'm dealing with it. I was dealing with it the whole time of, like, all the difficult things. So why, if we got a great opportunity, would you not just say, hey, do you fancy grabbing a coffee? So actually, if you are out and about, instead of saying to someone, do you want to go on a date, or walking straight up to them and like going, hi, do you want to go on a date? I think you're hot. Just get a bit of chit chat going, build up a bit of crack. If you were out in a bar, like the Six Nations are coming up, you know, there's men going to be everywhere for the next couple of weeks. So if you are out and about, build up a bit of a spark with someone, get talking to them and everything, and then just say to them, oh my goodness, you're a great crack, we should grab a coffee sometime.
But how do you filter out the married men? Because there's a few people that message going, you know, there's married men on the hunt too. Like, how do you...
Well, first of all, if you own a man, I'd say get him to put on a wedding ring, if you can, right? First of all.
Really?
Second of all, I know they can slip it off, but what I'm saying...
My husband does he not?
No.
I must go home and have a chat with him. Anyway.
No. What I'm saying, no, look, what I would say to you is, like, ask them straight out. Oh yeah, who are you out with tonight? Are you married yourself? Straight up. Why are you going to, if you're a single lady and you're out, like let's face it, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you're not out that often anymore anyway. So if you're single and it's a rare opportunity that you get out on a good night out, the last thing you're going to want to do is end up trying to chat up a guy for the next 45 minutes that you didn't even realise he's married. So get to the point. Come on, have a bit of
But what if he lies? And I suppose you can't allow
if he lies, he lies.
Yeah.
Like that's the way it goes. Like normally, I don't think a lot of men are just out there lying. I know people are like, but hold on a second. But I think if you ask them straight out, are you married yourself? I don't think they have time to
even think about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Fucking run a mile.
That's it. Now, like, they probably would. Yeah, if you ask them straight out.
Yeah.
I think just be direct. A lot of people as well then grew up reading Cosmopolitan magazine. So they know, they're like, whatever you do, don't tell them you want to get married. Don't tell them you want to have a family. You'll scare them off. The right person hears you differently. You know by someone's eyes or their face. If you ask them a direct question, a lot of people just don't ask the direct question. So you should be able to, what are you looking for? So if you ask somebody, what are you looking for? And they're like, well, I'm not sure. And say, oh, right, okay. And do you think it's something more casual or is it something more serious? This if you are on a date or if you are talking to them online, ask them straight out. If they say, well, I'm looking for something a little bit more casual and you're looking for something long term, they're not your person. Let's not try and make them your person. You're just going to waste the next 2 years of your life. So that's fair enough. Nice to meet you. Move on to the next person. If you're out and about and someone says to you, yeah, I'm married. Now, they might be delighted to have the flirt for the night, but like, let's face it, you're not getting that many nights out. Lovely to meet you. And you might even say to whoever you're out with, come on. Off to the next place. Excuse me, we're off to the next place. Let's go. Or sometimes if you're getting on well with somebody, actually not staying till the very end. And that's what we're kind of a little bit...
leave a bit of a lure.
Leave a little bit of lure. So chat away to them and be like, say to your friend, right, come on, we're off, and say, you're great crack. We must grab a drink sometime. We must grab a coffee sometime. And they're like, oh, you leaving already? Yeah, we're heading off to the next place. Sure, give me your number there and I'll give you a shout. We'll let you know where we are up the road. Something like that.
Play and
okay. Easy, but what are you going to do? Most people haven't even thought about that. They're out and about, they don't know what they're going to do if they meet somebody. There are no rules. This is the thing about dating. There are no rules. We've made all these rules. We have boxed ourselves into rules. We've overprescribed. We must meet somebody that's tall, dark, handsome, must have this amount of job, must have this amount of money. Now, there is a science about the dynamic between men and women.
Oh, yes. Do get into this because we talked about this on the phone way back when.
Absolutely. So you don't have to remember the terms, but women are hypergamous and men are hypogamous. What that means is women date across all levels and upwards and men date across all levels and downwards. Now, from what I have seen and all the people that I've matched down through the years, I reckon there's 4 main pillars of compatibility kind of entangled with this. So 1 is height. 2nd is age. 3 then is job title / education / kind of social status. Sometimes it might be like an influencer or something like that, And then 4, wealth.
When you say height, do you mean men and women with height?
Yeah. So basically, men need to be, if they're 3 out of 4 of these bigger, they need to be taller than the lady. Most ladies want to meet a guy that's slightly taller, slightly older, earns slightly more money than them and, has slightly wealthier than them. There's no rule to it, but I would say it's the energy that comes with. Okay. So if you are out and about and you're meeting somebody, it's how you feel. It's kind of about why I do the consultations in person. It's a person's whole vibe is what I'm saying. So if you are a lot of ladies that come to me are professional ladies. And so if I'm going to match them, I need to match them with someone that's their equivalent or bigger than them, whether it's height, age, like job title sort of thing or wealth.
So is it harder for women that are better educated and have better jobs and more money and more wealth to find a partner than it is for people that are the opposite of that?
Yeah, so you're dating upwards instead of dating downwards. And I take that now in the kindest sense of the word, okay? If I was to give you €50 and send you into Pennies and say buy a handbag, you might be able to come out with 10 handbags. If I give you €50 and head into Brown Thomas, you're not even going to get a purse. You might even not even get a lipstick. And so if you think of it, the bigger the energy, the bigger the person, the vibe, the everything, the harder it is, the more inaccessible it is. So ladies are trying to date upwards. So as I said, a lot of ladies that are coming to me are professionals. And so if you come to me, like today I had a female solicitor, yesterday I had a female barrister, I've had female professional rugby players come to me. There's kind of this nearly a masculine energy to the type of jobs they do because they're in their masculine energy the whole time that they're doing those jobs.
Do you say this to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, explain all this.
And do they get upset?
No, they actually are like, thank God, thank you. Thank you for explaining to me. I was wondering because I actually was on a date with the guy there last week and was lovely. I knew by his job title that he didn't earn as much money as me. But I said, you know what? well, like the money isn't important. I just want someone that's kind, whatever. And then they had the best date going. And then what can happen is they literally get ghosted the next day, or the guy is just like, look, lovely to meet you, but just not for me. So they're like,
do men have a problem with women that earn more than them? Or
no, but then some people say they're just intimidated by you. It's not intimidated. It's a different energy completely. What happens is the men just know. There's like an unconscious knowledge to them knowing that I'm just not going to be able to provide for this lady. And so it's an unspoken thing. Men nearly cop it faster than ladies, because ladies are like, well, how important is the money? Like, I earn enough money to carry the two of us if I need to, or how important is height? So, because they do get to a stage where they're being realistic about the type of person they'd like to meet. Whereas men, they're not intimidated by you. They're not afraid of the fact that you earn more money than them. They just are like, I would not be able to be the provider of the house, the man of the house.
And that really matters to men.
It does, yeah. And that's why very often they come to me when they've just bought a house, just built a house, just got a promotion, because men want to be providers. They want to be the man of the house. Now, like, I know they can say that's very traditional, that's very old fashioned and everything, and women are thankfully a lot more independent and have more choices and are able to make decisions as to whether or not to stay in abusive relationships and stuff now, because they are independent and have their own means. But in the most part, men still want to be the provider. They do want to be the man of the house.
Then how do those professional women, like, of which there are more and more and more, find someone? Because that professional man, you said dates across and down.
Yeah.
So they, it's easy for them. They can find like 30-year-olds that want to have great crack with them and loads of sex.
Yeah.
And the women then that are off that age that would maybe make brilliant partners can't find someone because they're almost like professionalise themselves out of the business.
Well, as I said, the great thing is a lot of Irish men do want to meet ladies on the same kind of level as them, which is great. So a lot of guys have achieved something on their own merit. Like, they have their own careers. They are working with other ladies that they're used to on the same level as them and everything like that. So they are looking at ladies as equals and everything. But if there is a disparity between that, if the lady is slightly higher earner or kind of what you would consider a bigger job title or a more affluent job title, it can slightly put them off. So what I say to people is just be the most feminine version when you're presenting yourself. Don't downsell yourself. Don't dumb yourself down or anything like that.
Or pretend you don't have as much money as you do, but just don't flaunt the money that you have.
You don't need to be presenting yourself like you are in a business setting. So you don't need to be like, well, I'm the director of this, I'm head of this, I'm, yes, you may be all of those things, but realistically, you don't need to be throwing it all out there. It's like when I was dating as a professional matchmaker. Like, I'm not going to lead with, oh, by the way, I'm a professional matchmaker, because the first thing they would have always saying, sorry, am I an experiment, or you're trying to recruit me, and like, it was difficult. And actually, I just said that I was working in events. Just working
But
events.
it's the first thing people not ask each other, or one of the first things is what you do for a living.
Yeah.
So if you are working in a big company and you're the director of this, and you just say, oh, well, I'm working in, say, Google, I don't know, or a finance firm, and they say, well, what do you do in there? And you're like, oh, if you don't tell them the truth, you're lying then.
Well, you're not going to lie, okay? So, first of all, I don't think you should lie, but I do think the most feminine version of it. You don't need to lead with, I'm head of all of, and give your entire job title. Because let's face it, first of all, safety perspective and even just privacy perspective. Like, if you're meeting someone on the internet, they don't need to know your full job title and where you work. So I think it's no harm keeping something kind of under your hat. Do you remember back in the day, like, grannies used to say, like, don't be telling men your age and everything, keep it to yourself and everything. There are just a few things that I would say, just pull it back a little bit. They don't need to know your whole life existence, where you live, all the different things, where you work, everything. You don't know who you're talking to on the internet. You don't know who you're talking to out and about. So just, tease it out. Give enough information. I wouldn't be holding back now either, because otherwise that can seem weird as well. So there is striking the balance, but like, be natural. Decide beforehand, how am I going to describe what I do? If it is something, like if you're a barrister, and I got a huge amount of female barristers as well, like it's a scary job title to some guys. Like, even guys that are...
They'll whip you out in an argument.
Like,
they're going to win every single argument.
Yeah, that's it. So, like, you're going to have to think to yourself, okay, like, what's the best way? And like, fantastic. But like, you still don't want to be telling guys that you're a barrister straight off because like, especially if they're going through a separation or divorce, because guess what that date's going to be talking about? Legal advice.
Okay.
So, just... I was talking to a guy that specialised in communication before, and he was saying that think about the things that you would like to share, and also think about the things you'd like to filter out until you get to the third, fourth, fifth date. You will know after the second,
Three
third
kids.
That's it, yeah.
Won't mention them. Won't mention them until the engagement ring's on the finger.
I'm all the time saying to my partner, I'm all the time saying to my partner, now that we're engaged, you can tell me now that you're a multimillionaire. I'm ready for that conversation now, you know. But yeah, look, like there's just, be as honest as possible. Do not lie, but just kind of figure out who you want to be or what way you want to present yourself.
Okay, and I have to ask you, are there rules for sex and when to have sex after the first date or whatever? Should you wait till the third date or should you just jump in if it feels good?
I think, first of all, there are no rules, which is great. Second of all, whatever you're most comfortable with. Third of all, there is a lot of studies that say that when you have sex with somebody, females, when you have sex with somebody, your body is absolutely flooded with noradrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, all of these things. So your body thinks that you are in love, and therefore a lot of people cannot decipher whether or not is this real love or is it sexy love. And so if you are the sort of person,
both not coexist.
They can coexist. And there's plenty of people that had a one night stand or, you know, had sex on the first date and got married and like had a great old time and are now 20, 50, 60 years in. Absolutely. For other people, they're just not able. Okay. They're not able to split the two. So I would say if you are not too interested in looking for a long-term real love, go and do whatever you want. If you are looking for long-term real love and you really like the person, I would probably hold off. I don't think it's going to do any harm. I think you're going to learn a lot more about that person. I think you're going to see red flags a lot quicker because you have to remember now when you're flooded with rose-tinted glasses, noradrenaline, oxytocin, all those things, you're going to think that he's the best thing ever. Especially now as well, if he's narcissistic and love bombing you, all of a sudden, like you're literally writing your own love story, but you also could be writing your own, you know, saddest story ever. Just try and keep your wits about you is what I would say. But like that, if you are going to go for it.
Explain love bombing and red flags as well for our listeners.
So love bombing is at the initial stages of a relationship when somebody literally just floods you with, think of the most romantic movie you've ever seen, like flowers delivered to your door, dinners out everywhere, whisked away on private jets, that sort of thing, you know, buying you a Range Rover, that sort of thing. Now look, that's the extreme version. But for some people it can be quite extreme. So it can be like a lot of text messages, phone calls, a lot of fancy restaurants, a lot of gifts, those sorts of things.
Saying I love you really soon.
Saying I love you very soon as well. That's definitely one of them. Or promising you stuff like 3 dates in. Do you know what? I think we should go to New York for Christmas. Stuff like this. All these like promises and OTT stuff. Now, there are people out there that works. So that's kind of what can I suppose, distract you. There are people that happens and it just works and people are very generous and all of those sorts of things. But just take a step. Women fall in love very easily. There's a lot of studies. A lot of studies that show that after they're about the third date, a lot of women are like, yes or no, will I marry this person or not? Now, if you fall in love very easily, you are opening yourself up to all sorts of, I think it's called dark triad men, people that are quite narcissistic, people that have a high sense of self, that are very showy. They're always the star of the show. They're always the hero in their story.
Okay.
It's all about me, those sorts of things. And then they love bomb you. So they literally try and recruit you is what I would say. So they try and win you over very quickly. A lot of people might say, well, that might be a weak woman that they would try and win over because they are easy to manipulate and everything like that. But actually, no. What they've shown is a lot of people that are narcissistic, men would say, they look at ladies that are quite successful because it's nearly like an achievement that they were able to win them over. So that's why the love bombing happens and it's so excessive. And
do you believe that there's men out there that just do this all the time with different women, like this narcissist trait? Or is there someone out there for everyone, but those men who we would deem as narcissistic fuckers, that have ruined people's lives, just haven't met the right woman that will make them into the person? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I do.
You know the way you hear you talk about bad boys and I know that there's and I know this is mainly geared towards women. So we're talking about bad boys, bad men, or men that are narcissistic or Machiavellian or just love bombing women. But is it a case that those men haven't found the right woman either, maybe? Or are there men with those traits and they're just...
There are men with those traits. There's also women with those traits. And very often what we talk about a lot, these men with these traits that are love-bombing women and everything like that. But there's nothing more dangerous than a narcissistic woman in a relationship, a toxic woman. Like, if you think about it, they're so manipulative. At least men are kind of on the surface and it's quite tangible things. It's like buying gifts, everything like that. There are some ladies out there that are very difficult and are quite toxic when it comes to relationships and in separations and divorces and all of that sort of thing. So, like, you know, what I would say is, if you were thinking about going out there dating, what sort of person are you dating? You know, are you genuinely being fair? What do you treat people? How do you speak to people? Do you always have to be right? Are you able to say sorry? That's the one thing about a narcissist. They're very, very often not able to say sorry. They're not able to be accountable for their actions. So all of those things. So looking at the sort of person that you are, what you're like to date, because let's face it, most people out there would like to have a 10 out of 10 relationship, but they have no idea where to start to have a 10 out of 10 relationship. Not everybody's capable of a 10 out of 10 relationship because not everybody is able to communicate clearly. Not everybody's able to play fair. Not everybody's able to say sorry and be accountable for their actions.
Or decide they don't have to win the argument all the time.
That's it, absolutely. And that's another thing about narcissism. Yeah, they have to win the argument, like, and they will lie, they'll gaslight, all of those things to try and manipulate the situation. Okay. So there is male and female of all of those versions out there.
I'm just going to go through some of the questions.
Brilliant, yeah.
How the hell do you meet someone in your 40s? It seems like there are so few good single men.
Okay.
So, yeah, so this
if I was 40, right, yeah. Okay, so I am 40, I'm nearly 42, but, you know, if I'm 40 and I'm single and I'm looking to meet somebody, okay, first of all, as I said, I'm going to set up a really great online dating profile and I'm going to be on 2 or 3 different platforms. I'm going to sit down and decide who I am and what I bring to a relationship. What type of lifestyle I have and what are the important traits that I'm looking for. I'm also going to think about the type of person I'd like to meet and what is important. What's the superficial nonsense bullshit stuff that I'm trying to find, and what is the genuine, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Green flag, someone that's kind, someone that's a team player, someone that's a good provider, possibly a good dad if you're at the last minute trying to have a baby or something like that. Then I'm also going to look at dating events. There's like so many dating events popping up all over Ireland. That's how we started, first of all, was doing a table for 6, and like I had 8,000 people on the waiting list within 3 months of sending that up. So there's loads of different dating events all over Ireland. I then also would think, well, what am I interested in? If I'm interested in photography, I'm going to do a photography course. If I'm interested in cookery, I'm going to do a cookery course. If I'm interested in men that like to watch rugby, the Six Nations are coming up. I'm going to line up my friends and say to them, right, we're going out these dates. I would not get all of my friends to go out on the same night. I would line up one friend for the Italy game, one friend for the Scotland game, whatever.
And actually, I get that more nights out. It's hard for single women because a lot of single women feel that, you know, they're left behind. All their friends are married, kids. That's it. And they've no one to go out with. And if they have arranged something, every friend, piece by piece, peels away from that actual...
Can't get a babysitter or something's after happening. Yeah.
So how do those single friends find the friends to go out with?
Another great thing is Rory's Travel Club. They have like single travelling as well. If they want to do that, meet other ladies that are in the same situation as yourself. Like, I believe there's a lot of ladies go on those, because it's obviously safer to date as a single person on these solo trips that they do. They're group solo trips. But like meeting other like-minded people, doing things like learning how to play golf, learning how to play tennis, expand your social circle. And I know that's easier said than done, but we should all be extending our social circle and our friendships throughout. Like, I think it's something like every 7 years, women change 40% of their friendship group. So we need to be evolving. And so you're going to have...
Should that statistic relate to marriage as well?
It should, though. For some people it should. For some
every
people
7
it
years.
should.
I've heard some people say, like, every 10 years you should find a new man or a new woman or something like that. Like,
for some people they should, though.
Yeah.
For some people they should. If that's not the right relationship for you. And that's the thing. Like, we are so... like, getting married is forever. And I believe that if it's the right person. But I also believe that you shouldn't stay in a relationship that genuinely is not good for your health.
I agree. However, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Life is hard. People have mortgages and they've children, and finances and everything intertwined. It can be very difficult to separate.
Absolutely.
You know?
Especially in Ireland.
Right, I'm looking through more. What age group tends to be the most successful in matchmaking?
The most popular, I would say, would be early 30s to about 57, 58. So obviously from that perspective, because I have the volume of clients within that age group, we obviously would have the most success in that age group. But we have everybody from early 20s to mid 80s.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do star signs actually matter compatibility wise?
I don't know. Okay. I don't match on that basis.
Okay, grand. People ask them about how to get their libido back. I'm like, you're in the wrong the wrong box. How to encourage men to ask questions. There's lots on dating apps. They reply but never follow up with a question.
That is communication skills. And let's face it, we don't date people that are lazy communicators, because if they're going to be lazy communicators online, they're going to be lazy communicators when you go on a date with them. And imagine 20 years in and you're having an argument, they're still going to be lazy communicators. So, we don't tolerate that. And what I would say is, right, there's work-life balance. A lot of people talk about work-life balance. I talk about work-life love balance. And under each of those headings, everybody has a personality. So you have your work personality, you have your life personality, but you also have your romantic personality. And so most people, their most mature or their most developed personality is their work personality, because you're outside your comfort zone and there's people behind you going, you need to go into that meeting and you need to present to 100 people, you need to do a podcast, all of those things. But when it comes to the romantic personality, a lot of people have not even thought about who I am, who is my romantic personality, who is the romantic Mairead, what am I like to date, those sorts of things.
What are you like to date?
Natural and fabulous, of course I am. But actually what is important and developing that. So a lot of people haven't thought about that, and how the art of great conversation. There's a great book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So if you don't know where to start, get that book and even just read the title of each chapter as a start. Look up ChatGPT, the art of great conversation. What should I be doing on a date? If people are not asking you questions back and things like that, there's do you need to start at their personality as opposed to dating? Okay.
There has to be another way than the sites for the emotionally developed person.
Yeah, Love HQ. Let's go.
That's the name of your site?
Love HQ, yeah, matchmaking.
Okay. Let me see. How do I have hope in this hopeless age of dating? Oh.
I know it can feel hopeless, okay? But there are many people out there that would suit you. And as we said earlier about finding a new job, a lot of people stop before they get to the first interview, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A lot of people get talking to one idiot or get ghosted once and they're like, that's it and I'm gone, okay? If you're out there dating, please decide, right, I'm going to give this 3 months. I'm going to go on at least one date every second week. I'm going to try online dating. I'm going to start doing new events or meeting new people out and about. I might even find a new wing woman to just go out with on a Saturday night. I'm going to go to a matchmaker. And I'm going to try it all. Before I get going, I'm going to buy 2 or 3 banging outfits that I feel really sexy in, if I'm male or female. And I'm just going to have fun. And when I go on dates, I'm not going to take them too seriously. I'm going to go, and if they're my person, great, I'll meet them one more time. And if they're not my person, I know another lovely person in the world and we'll just move on next. We're not treating people they're as they're disposable. We're not being unkind to people, but we have to be realistic, okay? Dating is 2 people just getting to know each other. You're telling your story to them, they're telling their story to you, and you're trying to figure out what this could be. At no stage do they owe it to you to be with you for the rest of your life, until you have a conversation of, would you like to get married? Would you want to get engaged? But don't assume exclusivity until you've met them a good few times and you have the conversation. I would not assume exclusivity. I would actually enjoy the conversation, because coming up to it when you're kind of getting these little feelers of, he's saying he loves this, loves that. And actually that's what I started doing with my partner, is I knew he was in love with me. I just knew. And what I started doing was using the word love a lot more often around him. And then all of a sudden he was just like, I just have to tell you I'm crazy in love with you. And I was like, I knew that already. It's just actually bringing the language into the relationship. If you're the sort of person that's like, I can't talk about kids, I can't talk about possibly getting married, I can't, that conversation is not going to flow as easy as you saying, do you know what, I'd love to have family someday if I meet the right person. And, do you think, is that something you'd like? You can't scare them away if they're the right person. If that's what they're aligned to, they're also kind of thinking, is this the right person?
Is speed dating good?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Do they do many of those anymore?
Oh, they do, yeah. And it's there's
someone said, please more matchmaking events in person in Dublin.
Yeah.
Or not Dublin based.
Not Dublin based. So they do them all over the country. Okay. I used to have the dating events all over the country. It's just a lot to organise when you're doing matchmaking, but there are speed dating events all over Ireland, and just get out and go to them. Okay. They're and have fun, and don't be afraid to go on your own. when I used to do the dating events, a lot of women used to come with their friends and it was nearly like a competition. And so say you and I went off and we're both single on a dating event, but say that guy, we both like him. Like only one of us can kind of say, yeah, I like him, because whoever says it first, you can't then swoop in and be like, well, actually, I'm taking him instead. So you're kind of competing with your friends. Don't be afraid to do these events on your own.
Okay.
Be out there.
Yeah, you see, some people don't have that confidence, Mairead.
I know they don't. And that's the thing, because dating is outside people's comfort zone.
What do men in their 50s actually want? They tell you they're falling in love with you and then they dump you.
I think we're talking about someone specific there, but it depends where they are. Again, when you're chatting to someone at the initial stages, like actually saying to them, what are you looking for? Being very clear at the beginning. Now, in fairness, if they are saying they love you and then they dump you, there's any sort of things that could be.
Okay. How do I get into this as a career? I think I'd be so good at it.
Give us a shout. I'd love to talk to you. I'll tell you what happened was I actually was matching all my friends. I was the girl growing up, this like, my friend likes you, la la la. I went off to Australia, met loads of people over there, started saying to them, do you want to come down to Mullingar for a night, and introducing them to my friends, or I'd have my friends down from college. And then they all just started getting married, all these people that I had matched. And I was like, kind of loving this, but I was single myself and I was like, hello.
Yeah.
Back at me here now, anytime anybody wants to. But, I was working in finance. I was financial advisor for years, and then the recession hit and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to give this a go. And that's when I set up the dating events, and it honestly has just exploded since then. We do our very best. I understand people are coming to me with their heart. I understand that people are coming to me with their trying to do their best. I do my very best. I can't match everybody.
Yeah.
If I could, I'd be honestly the richest person in the world, to be richer than Oprah. I can't. I have to do it with ethics. It is ethical matchmaking. People are disheartened sometimes that they come to me and I don't have a match for them. I'd much rather that than coming back to me and thinking, oh my God, Mairead, what did you do? I get it right a lot of the time. I can't get it right 100% of the time either. If that's the case, I say, come back to me. I ask them loads and loads of questions and we try and get them a better match the next time. Like sometimes people might say to me, oh, I'd love to meet a farmer. And they describe their ideal person to me. Or they might say to me, you know what I'm looking for. And I'm like, I kind of know what you're looking for. Absolutely. Because I know from talking to people what the average of this, what's happening and everything like that. But sometimes people don't know what they're coming to me for. They expect me to be a mind reader. Sometimes people say to me, I'd like to meet someone and have great chemistry with them. And that's not a tangible thing that I can measure, because I don't know if you're going to have chemistry with that person or not. So I can only do my very best. And that's what we do, we're very realistic.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I think there has to be a realist view of it too, because as you said, sometimes people have an unrealistic view, particularly people that may have grown up in the Instagram age.
That's it,
They feel that they want this person that just doesn't exist, or that it's a combination of 5 people really instead of just the one.
And then also you don't know what people are like out on dates. So a lot of people that come to me, they are thinking, okay, well, she's going to try and find me my husband. So they're like, I'm this. And like you're reading between the lines and you're like, do you actually go to the gym 15 times a week? Or do you actually, people like an interview might oversell themselves, or they might, and you're trying to decipher that as well. Or they might say, I'm really confident on a date, and they might go on a date and be really like shy, and that's okay. They're like, you're not expected to be perfect. Like if everybody was perfect, they would, like, we're talking about real people here. Yeah. There's other people then that might go on a date and might be absolutely fine when they meet me, but like 3 weeks time their ex may have gotten in contact with them in the meantime, and then they're playing on their mind while they're on a date.
God, so human relationships are so tricky, aren't they?
They are, but we don't give them enough airspace if you think of it. Like if you look at, nobody taught us how to date. There's no like school for dating, although I do run a dating masterclass, but nobody shows us how to date. We don't give enough. Like I was in Wellfest last year, but there was no big talk about love. There was no big, where are we learning about love? Where are we learning about relationship? Where are we having these conversations?
That is so interesting, because we're not taught how to have sex for pleasure. We're not taught that.
That's it.
All of the things that I talk about that are so important. It's almost like all of that's bypassed, and you just expect some people to fall into relationships. And actually, I think as well, what's missing nowadays from our poor young people is that there's so much of this online chatting that when they get in front of each other, they can't even make eye contact.
I know.
Or deal with rejection in person.
I know.
Is another thing.
But I don't think anybody's good at dealing with rejection.
No, but if I feel I'm repeating some of the stuff that I said in yesterday's podcast, but I was watching a comedian do a talk there the other day, and he was saying, you know, at least back in the 90s, when you mustered up the courage to ask a girl out, I should say no to your face. And you kind of like, it was a growth moment.
Yeah.
Whereas in the dating world now, it's like they just ghost you or they say no to you and you don't really have that face-to-face contact, so it isn't as embarrassing. So then if rejection does eventually happen in real life, you take it much more personally.
You do. Like, it's all very difficult. There is no right or wrong. There's no expert at dating out there. Even when I was dating as a professional matchmaker, knowing all the conversations you should have, you shouldn't have, like try not to talk about religion or politics or any high profile court cases are kind of what I say. But like sometimes you're on a date or sometimes you're even in a conversation and
like things that like weren't an actual opinion.
Like you know, or referendums and stuff like that people feel really like strongly about, or like presidents of the United States. I'm like, please don't talk about this. Like, like this is going to be lead balloon straight away. And so
keep it light, keep it airy.
That's what I'm saying. Have fun, be your most feminine self, you know. But like, you're sometimes having a conversation with someone. Like, I'm sure sometimes you're at a dinner party and you're having a conversation with someone. You're like, how the hell did I get onto this topic? How am I getting out of this hole? And it's the same on a date, you know. And like you were saying about sex as well, like being able to have that conversation, having the confidence to talk about safe sex. One of the things that are seemingly rampant in the UK at the moment is herpes among older, like 50, 60, 70s. And so like having the conversation about sex when you start dating, again, just have the conversation. You shouldn't be embarrassed about this. Like, you're just about to take off all your clothes and have some fun, you know.
It's so funny how it's harder to talk about it sometimes.
I know,
just do it.
I know, but sometimes it's part of the fun, isn't it?
It's so fun. Are there any other parts of this conversation that you want to get across before we move on to my 2 banger questions at the end?
There's nothing really. Like, I just had a whole lot of scenarios, like if anybody going through a breakup, but I think that's nearly ending on a negative more so than anything else.
Sure, no, you might as well.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, like for anybody that is, and we're just saying there, you know, there are going to be people listening to this that are after breaking up. So actually Monday, the first Monday in January was Divorce Monday. So this is when the solicitors get the highest amount of inquiries about how the hell do I get out of this relationship.
Because they just had a shit Christmas.
Or from the 8th of January or the 8th of December onwards, there doesn't tend to be breakups, if I'm honest, because people are like, I'll just wait till after Christmas, you know, for the sake of the kids, for the, like, I'll hang in for my present or whatever it is. So a lot of people kind of hang in there from the 8th. There seems to be like a little pause button until January. So for anybody that is going through a breakup at the moment, I would say, 1, allow the grief, because we need to feel it. Sometimes as well, it's actually harder to get over somebody that you might have been with for 6, 7, 8 months as opposed to someone you were with for 20 years. Because you have to remember, at the initial stages of a relationship, your hormones are going mental. You're still getting all those lovely fizzy feelings and all the nice, you know, love.
Text.
That's it. I know. That's it. All of those lovely things. So when you break up with someone, even after 6, 7, 8 months, sometimes that can be actually more devastating than a long-term relationship. So allow the grief, sit with it. How do you feel? If you need to go to therapy, do. I also as well get a lot of people coming to me that maybe had huge relationships in their 20s, like late teens, 20s, into their college years, when they were like developing their personality, coming of age, basically developing their identity. Because if you think about it, you're in secondary school and then all of a sudden you're out in college, but you actually have this big, intense relationship with you, and then all of a sudden that breaks up, and then they're literally single till they're like late 30s.
Okay.
And they come to me and they're like, I haven't had a serious relationship since I had a 6-year relationship in my late 20s or my late teens, early 20s. So if that's the case, go and talk to a therapist, kind of tease it out. Like, where do you need to do your work is what I would say. Second of all, talk to friends and family. So if you've just broken up with someone, line up a few coffee dates, get talking to people that love you, is what I would say. Also, get them to give you hugs, because probably you are missing physical contact. I would also say book a massage, because again, you're missing physical contact.
But I have heard you can die from a broken heart.
You can, yeah. And actually, I was listening to something there from a cardiologist before. Actually, I was listening to somebody over the Christmas, and their mum had been diagnosed with broken heart syndrome, even though she hadn't gone through anything, but she had all the symptoms of it. Isn't that crazy that they can call it that as a whole thing? What else they would say is limit contact with your ex. So I would say give yourself time to cut it off. And just don't
go for that little shag.
Well, maybe have the last shag and then go off on your merry way. But like, let's face it, just cut it off and let's go. Right. Delete the number, block the number, let's go. We're not going to be rude to them. We're not going to be aggressive to them. We're certainly not going to send them the big long text and like lose our mind or anything like that. But limit contact.
And you think blocking them is not... Do you not think that's a bit rude?
I think if you say to them, I would say, look, I actually just need to get through this. And like, you probably still love them to an extent, or you're still, I think you need to say, I need to get through this and I need a little bit of space. And even just saying to them, we can have a chat again in 2-3 weeks time, but I just need a little bit. There's no point in going back over things and having conversations when the relationship is dead. Practice self-care. So start thinking, what am I going to do? What would I like? Make a list of all the things you didn't like about the relationship, because very often people put these relationships and people up on a pedestal, but actually make a list of all the things that you didn't like, and that can kind of help you along the way.
Send that to them.
Don't send it to them.
And don't fucking cut your hair, right?
No, don't cut your hair.
You will regret it.
No, you will. Absolutely do not cut your hair. Focus on having fun. Again, lining up nights out, those sorts of things. Maybe reduce the alcohol intake during that time. We don't need the tears or the drunk messages or anything like that. Journal your thoughts and avoid rebounds, and focus on personal growth and dreams. I just think all of those things, just to align yourself if you are going through a breakup, just to kind of keep yourself within the limits of just sanity, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's very hard. It's like if you were going through
a breakup. Death.
It is like a death, yeah. And sometimes, especially if they've broken up with you, you know. And actually, it's just as hard when you break up with somebody. Because you feel so guilty, so you do. And then you're also thinking, for anybody as well in their late 30s, I'm always thinking that, like, God love them, because they're thinking to themselves, like, is this the last chance I had now of having a family?
Yeah.
So it's not. Keep going. They're not your person. Your right person is out there. They were just slowing you down from meeting them. So take whatever time you need, get a little bit of therapy, love yourself again, get it back out on it.
And do you think there is such a thing as a soulmate, or do you think there are many people out there for us?
I think there's many people out there for you. I think there is a possibility of soulmates. But then, like, when I met my person, like, it honestly was that just when I met him, we went for our first date, and I would normally have played it really cool. And as soon as we got out, I got out to the car after leaving him after our first date, I just texted him, wow, what the hell was that? There was no coolness. I was like, I don't know what's just after happening there, but
you knew
that's my person.
Okay.
Yeah, and he'll say it himself.
And sometimes it happens like that, and then other times it can take time for that love to build. Yeah,
it can, absolutely. So there's no right or wrong answer.
Okay.
Love is just beautiful.
Okay, well, look, on that note, I'd love to ask you my 2 final questions.
Yes.
So what advice would you give young people today? And that doesn't have to be in the matchmaking space or the love space. It could just be any advice that you would like to give people that I suppose you're a little bit older and a little bit wiser than they are.
Yes. I think be true to yourself. Think about who you are, what you want in your life, and then stay true to it. I think myself, I would have given people the answer that they wanted down through the years, or I would have been the good girl very often. And it wasn't until I started doing a bit of therapy myself that I was like, I'm not going to be the good girl. I'm going to be Mairead. And I'm going to be true to myself, and the people that are supposed to be in my life, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's colleagues, whether it's clients, they're going to appreciate who I am. And the people that are not are just organically not going to be in my life anymore. And I think it was probably the best decision of my life. So I would say be yourself and be unapologetically yourself is what I would say, within safe parameters and everything like that.
Of course.
And don't be afraid to embrace the feminine version of yourself if you're a female and you're in business and you're out there in the world, because it's difficult when you're doing quite masculine energy jobs, when you're like trying to schedule all the time and you're working hard all different hours of the night and everything like that. Like, try and kick yourself back into your feminine energy. There's like a little bit of magic that sits somewhere around there.
And what is the meaning of life?
Oh, wow. Love, obviously. I think that's the obvious, but no, I just think try and find love in everything you do. Like, if anybody's in my house, there's like little hearts everywhere, and like not tacky, but even when I'm doing my foundation in the morning, I draw a heart on my foundation brush and stamp it on my face and then rub it into my face. Just the meaning of life is love, and it's the people that are in your life, and surround yourself with good people, and people that are not appreciating you, loving you as you should be. Just take a moment and decide what you're going to do there in a kind way, but be true to yourself.
Mairead, thank you so much. I hope that we've helped people and given them food for thought and given them confidence and maybe a stepping stone.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is There are no rules, okay? For what happens works for some people, doesn't work for some people. And just be kind to yourself. We're all doing our best, but don't give up on love. There is definitely someone out there for you. It might just take a little bit more effort. It might be outside your comfort zone, but it's definitely worth it. Just keep going. They are out there.
And where can people find you?
lovehq.ie.
Okay, fabulous. Are you on Instagram as well?
Yeah, Instagram, lovehq.ie as well. I'm on
grand.
TikTok. And yeah, just Google Mairead Lockman, you'll find me.
Fab. Okay, thanks a million. Glow from the inside out. With my Fabu Skin, Hair and Nails Glow, which blends 12 active ingredients including reishi mushroom, amino acids, vitamins and minerals to support collagen production and skin, hair and nail health on a cellular level. See the amazing before and after pictures of fuller, thicker hair, radiant glowing skin and longer, stronger nails on fabulwellness.com. Available on fabulwellness.com and in pharmacies and health food stores nationwide.